You know, in the wild, chaotic world of crypto, there's a multi-billion-dollar hunt for just one thing, a little bit of calm. And that hunt has led to one of the most important and honestly, most controversial innovations in the space, stablecoins. They promise to be this amazing bridge to the future of digital money. But, as we're about to see, that bridge can be well, surprisingly fragile.
So before we can really dig into the solution, you have to appreciate the problem. And in crypto, the problem is that the market is a total roller coaster. It's awesome for traders, sure, but it's a huge headache for anyone who just wants to, buy a cup of coffee.
I mean, this chart really says it all, doesn't it? Over on the left, you've got something like Bitcoin, where the value can just swing like crazy. That's fine if you're a long-term holder, but it's not so great if the price of your latte doubles between the time you order it and the time you pay. Then on the right, you've got the good old US dollar, which is, well, it's predictable. And that core problem, that insane volatility, is what makes crypto a really tough sell for just everyday stuff.
So this whole situation created a massive question for the early crypto pioneers. What if, just what if, you could get all the awesome benefits of the blockchain, like the speed and the global access, but you could ditch the wild price swings? That is the exact problem that stablecoins were designed to solve.
And that's where the stablecoin comes in. It's this whole new kind of digital asset that was literally engineered to give us the best of both worlds.
Okay, so at its heart, a stablecoin is a crypto that's pegged, or basically tied to the value of a government-issued currency, what we call fiat currency. For the big ones like USDC or USDT, the goal is super simple. One token should always equal $1. So here's the big idea in action. You get the convenience of crypto, trading right there on the blockchain, and you merge it with the stable, reliable value of traditional money. It's this hybrid approach, and the whole point is to make digital currency practical enough for real life.
But what happens when that promise of stability completely breaks? This is where things get serious, and we have to talk about the single biggest risk facing every stablecoin out there, something called the depeg.
Depegging is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's that terrifying moment when a stablecoin that's supposed to be worth $1 is suddenly trading for 99 cents or 90 cents or even less. Now look, small little fluctuations can happen and get fixed, but a major depeg? That is a catastrophic failure. And it really is that simple. A stablecoin has one job to do: hold its peg. If it can't do that, it has failed its most basic purpose. Its whole reason for being just vanishes.
And listen, this isn't just some theory. This is real. Back in March 2023, one of the biggest stablecoins on the planet, USDC, broke its peg and crashed all the way down to 87 cents. And why? Because it turned out that $3.3 billion of its cash reserves were stuck inside the collapsing Silicon Valley Bank. The market completely panicked, wondering if that money was gone forever. It just goes to show you how fragile this whole system can be.
So how do these coins actually try to keep their values stable? Well, it turns out there are a few different ways to build a peg, and each one of these designs comes with its own unique set of risks and trade-offs.
Okay, so broadly speaking, there are three main ways to do this. First, you've got the old-school approach, Fiat Collateralized, which is backed by actual money in a bank. Second is the crypto-native approach, Crypto-Collateralized, backed by other crypto assets. And then there's the third, kind of futuristic approach, Algorithmic, which, well, it's backed by nothing but computer code.
All right, so the most common type you'll see is fiat collateralized. The idea is simple, kind of like the old gold standard. For every single digital token they put into circulation, the company holds $1 in a real bank account. And to prove they're not making it up, they release regular audits of their reserves. It's really straightforward, but like we saw with USDC, the big risk is whether you can actually get to that money when you really need it.
Next up, we have crypto-collateralized stablecoins, and a great example is DAI. Now, instead of being backed by dollars, these are backed by a big pool of other cryptocurrencies. And that immediately creates a paradox, right? How do you back something that's supposed to be stable with assets that are super volatile? The answer is a clever idea called over-collateralization.
So here's how that works. To borrow, let's say, $100 worth of a stablecoin like DAI, you might have to lock up $150 worth of another crypto like Ether. That extra 50% acts as a safety cushion for any price swings. But the huge risk, of course, is a massive market crash that just blows right through that cushion and triggers a total meltdown of forced liquidations.
And finally, we get to the most ambitious and, frankly, the riskiest model of them all,
algorithmic stablecoins. These things aren't backed by any tangible collateral at all. Instead, it's all just complex algorithms, pure code, that try to maintain the peg by automatically expanding or shrinking the supply of tokens. Their Achilles heel? They run on one thing and one thing only: confidence. And the second that confidence starts to shake, the whole system can just shatter.
And we saw that exact nightmare scenario play out with a spectacular collapse of Terra USD back in 2022. The second its peg started to wobble, it triggered a classic bank run. Confidence just evaporated, and within a matter of days, a multi-billion-dollar ecosystem completely imploded, with the stablecoin's value dropping to practically zero.
But you know, beyond these tricky economic models, there's a much deeper risk that actually threatens every single stablecoin, no matter how it's designed. It's not about the money in the bank. It's all about the code running on the blockchain. You see, all the rules, how new tokens get made, how they get destroyed, how the collateral is managed, all of it is governed by these automated programs we call smart contracts. You can think of these contracts as the engine that runs the entire system.
And this is how it can all go wrong in a flash. If a hacker finds just one tiny flaw in that code, they can completely bypass all the economic rules we just talked about. They could, for example, just mint millions of unbacked tokens out of thin air, or drain all the reserves, causing the stablecoin to collapse instantly. In this world, the security of the code is literally everything.
So after all that, where does this leave us? What's the big takeaway from this really complex but super important corner of the digital money world?
Well, it really all comes down to a series of trade-offs. The fiat-backed coins, they're the most stable, but they're centralized, and they depend on the exact same old banking system they were supposed to replace. The crypto-backed ones, they're more decentralized and crypto-native, but they're totally vulnerable to crypto market crashes. And the algorithmic coins? Well, they're the most innovative for sure, but they've also proven to be incredibly fragile, running on nothing but pure faith.
Ultimately, stablecoins give us this fascinating glimpse into a hybrid financial future. They're trying to be a bridge between the old world of finance and the new world of crypto. But given all the risks, depegging, market crashes, code exploits, the one fundamental question we all have to ask is that bridge really secure enough for all of us to cross?